Yo, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over some personal markups that I had for the week going into next week also. Before we get into that, I do need to put out my little risk disclaimer that I'm not a financial advisor, nor am I providing any financial advice at any given time. Content provided is only for educational, informational, and illustrative purposes only. I'm simply just sharing a collection of information I personally gained through 4 years of my personal trading experience. Whatever actions you pursue after information reveal is totally up to your discretion and solely your responsibility. The user of these products and services assumes full responsibility for all trading activity. Trading with real money does involve risk, so trade at your own discretion and trade at your own risk. Okay, let's get into it. So going based on daily structure here, you can see that we have a new low, we have smaller time frame break, and we're approaching a lower high area. Going to the 4 hour, you can see that more clearly. Here we did get that break above, we have accumulation in this area, and now we have a potential reaction of certain distribution on the 4 hour time frame where we have our daily lower high area. So right here we do have distribution a little bit with buyer's climax, automatic reaction, second test, sign of weakness, and that's all we have for now, which is why it's a good sign because it's happening right below where we have our entry right here. So that's what I'm looking at for GU. I'm looking to take this trade next week personally, and we have multiple targets here. We have this IPA, we have ICs here, so this is looking really good for next week. Okay, going on to GA. GA, we see something a little bit different. We see supply for daily is invalidated. We have our low here, and we have our area here. So this is the area before we confirmed which structure we're actually going for on the daily time frame and the 4 hour. Right here, I do have an IC that hasn't been tapped into yet, and we also have equal lows forming above it with this IPA right here. So this is why I'm targeting this area right here. Go into the hourly, you can see it a little bit more clearly. And you can see that I'm actually putting it here. Actually, I'll put it here, because that's the last sell before aggressive price action. So that's why I'm actually buying in that area. Okay, so not really looking too much into too many confirmations. This is basically just structure and SMC combined. But yeah, so going to EG, we have a little bit different. So right now we failed to make a new high. That's what I was going to enter off of in this area if we were to make a new high, but we didn't yet. So with that being said, this may be a failed accumulation. Okay, so going to higher time frames, you can see that COS here on the 4 hour. Why are we not targeting up here? Because although we have this IPA right here, you can see that we have this IC that's already been tapped into, did take all that liquidity. If you were going to enter, it would have been best to enter off this candle, which already got tapped into fully. So the next point of where I could see this going to is this area right here, where we have equal highs swept. Going to the hourly, a little bit more easier to see, and I'm entering off this candle right here. I believe I was targeting a 4 hour. Where'd it go? Yeah, it was right here. The open of this candle and stop loss above the wick, and that's what I'm seeing for this. Potentially, I want to see if we get a break above on the 4 hour, which we'll need to do in order to get to this area. I am entering on buys to sells, sells to buys. Or yeah, buy to sell, sell. Okay, GCAD. Going to the weekly time frame, you could see that from here we actually do have weekly orders sitting in this area at an area of a high. Now as you can see, we failed to make a new high, so going to smaller time frames, going to higher time frames, you could see that this area was tested, but we failed to make a new high, showing that sell orders are actually present. And going from a recent structure standpoint, we have this that's been invalidated and here. So right now, I'm currently seeing a low. Going to smaller time frames, we see that 4 hour high made. We see a little bit of distribution. I'm personally entering off this area because going to daily time frames, I personally consider us to be in bullish structure still. Why? Because from a higher time frame perspective, you can see after we made that new high from this higher low, we only retested. We didn't break a below. And the reason why I want to wait for either side at the moment is because we have weekly buy orders here, weekly sell orders here, going to the daily using our structure. Low, low, high, broke above, higher low. This one, it's a little iffy, but this is what I'm seeing based on higher time frames. We have our weekly sell orders here, weekly buy orders here. I'm not really looking too much at GCAD. I don't like how structure prevails, but from what it's presented thus far with this daily break above, I'm actually personally looking to enter buys. Go into the 4 hour. You can see that here we have our low, we have our high, broke above. Now this could potentially be a higher low because it did get retested, but I still see much reason for price to react in this area. So that's what I'm looking at for GCAD. For UJ, we had a beautiful reaction and then it stopped us out, but I already took partials prior. So what we were seeing for UJ was we were on a high, so already buys are way more safer. Daily, we have our daily high, higher low in this area with accumulation. This is maintaining daily structure, great. 4 hour, so we've seen where price could react off of, which is this area, which is also this area too, because we have this IPA here that hasn't been filled, as well as this IC that hasn't been filled either. That took liquidity also. Now here, I was expecting a little reaction off this, which we did get, and it did play out for a good while, as you can see. And then here is where I took partials and moved my stops to break even. So we stopped and then we climbed above. That's okay. Still made a quick bill off that, so whatever. But yeah, UJ already got that reaction, but I'm still waiting to see if there's potentially a better entry down here, or if we're just gonna get a reaction off here. And if it is off here, we make a new high, we're gonna enter in this area again, just following structure. Now for EA, currently seeing a little something different. On the weekly time frames, we are actually bearish right now. We have a new lower high, but we failed to make a new lower low, which is why I see buy orders are here. Now daily, you can see after we made that low, we continue to create level structure. Here L2, here's where I see L3. And the reason why I'm actually considering this one is because we failed to make a new lower low. So I'm expecting to see a reaction in this area or a reaction in this area, which actually follows structure. Going to the 4 hour, you can see it a little bit more evidently that this is a candle responsible for taking all these equal highs. So this is why I want to enter in this area, because after this big push up to take these equal highs, there was an immediate push down. So that shows to me that institutions are actually in that area, and this is where I want to enter off of. Okay, going to UCAD. Here we have weekly structure. We're currently bearish at the moment. Going to daily, see something a little different. We're actually bullish. We have a new high. We have accumulation in the area of a higher low. Now we're just anticipating where to react off of. Here I highlighted this area, but I don't really see much reason to enter off this on a daily's perspective. So going down to the 4 hour, we could see it a little bit more clearly, a little bit of that accumulation here. And you just want to play it back. So here, I don't want to enter off this because this tapped into this. I don't want to enter off this because this tapped into this. Now, where is the most reasonable place for price to tap into? With all this healthy price action, where I see a big gap, where it actually catches my eye, is this area right here. Because we do have this IPA sitting here, and we have this IC here. Okay, so that's why I'm entering off this, but there could be potential to move lower, Going to the hourly, looking into that accumulation area, we do still have this IC right here, but this is the last point of where I could actually put it to. So this is going to be my extreme POI. So you open 1 hour. Okay, now we have our stop loss here. Now this is going to be our second entry. Okay, so overall, still seeing buys for UCAD. In my opinion, it's always been safer to buy than sell for UCAD. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing at the moment. And this already is 13 pip stop loss. If we have it to the same TP, 1 to 37, not too shabby. Okay, so we'll just save that. Going to USDJPY. I swear I just marked this up. Oh yeah, I did. Okay. Going to weekly time frames. We can see that we have this weekly / daily COS. We have a new high, failed to make a new higher, or we made a new higher low, failed to make a new higher high. This is what made me consider the possibility of daily / weekly sell orders being in this area, because we created liquidity. We still have this IC that hasn't been filled yet. This just filled this imbalance here. And go into the daily. Have a new high, higher low, failed to make a new higher high. So this is just ranging in my opinion. So we could still react off this area, which I believe is going to happen because we have all these equal lows happening here. We still have this IPA here to fill. We still have some IPA in this area, and we have an IC that hasn't been tapped into. So I'm waiting for smaller time frame confirmation, my accumulation to happen on a smaller time frame. Going to the 4 hour. You could see it a little bit more evidently. This is a candle responsible before this bullish move. Now I could see a reaction in this area. Okay, so for USDJPY, I'm very confident when it comes to buys. And again, this is just my opinion, but yeah. The fact that we created equal lows in this area, had a reaction, didn't make a new higher high. We could come back into this area and then see possible reaction in off this institutional area. Okay, so going to the last one, NZDCAD. Weekly time frames, you can see the high. We're currently on bearish structure, which is why I want to look for more sells. So here we have on the low, we have a new high, low, distribution in this area, and then we have distribution in this area. Go into the daily time frame, you can see why it's valid. Here we have a low, we have distribution at a lower high, and then we have distribution again. There's no real reason to tap into this distribution because it already tapped into. This filled previous IC and previous IPA, and then we have a new low. So this is the area I'm actually looking at rather than this area. Going to the 4 hour perspective, we could see that there's price inducing buys, so people to buy, because for retail, they expect to sell off this line until it breaks, then they start buying above, which could be valid, but I personally don't like trading that way because price doesn't have to respect your trend lines or any lines you put on the chart. Price does what it wants, and this is just higher probability in my personal opinion. Okay, so I'm looking at this area right here because going to the 1 hour, you could see it a little bit more clearly that we do have this capture here. Going to the 15-minute, you can see smaller time frame distro, buyer's climax, automatic reaction, second test, set of weakness, up test after distribution. That wasn't really accurate. This would be second test, this would be up test, this would be up test after distribution, and then we have this immediate sell-off. So this is clear here that price needs to test into this area. So this is why I've actually marked this area. Going to higher time frames, this is where I possibly see possible reactions. So this one's 12 pips, this one's 5.8. Again, really good positions. But yeah, with that being said, that's all I'm seeing for next week. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment on your thoughts if you guys are seeing anything for any of these pairs that I covered, or any other pairs that you guys want me to check. Let me know in the comments below. With that being said, guys, I will see you next week. Take care. With all love, peace.